brand new week of football, a brand new place to record, but it's also different of a story for Arsenal as they head into a League Cup game against a side where we're hoping for rotation, praying for rotation, but the question remains, will we see rotation? This is the Arsenal News Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show, joining you from very new surroundings. This is not going to be the permanent residence of the show. It is going to be temporarily the residence for the show for a little bit. I've got a Wi-Fi dongle thing. If you know what they are, it's like a little box that gives me Wi-Fi in the short term that you kind of like top up with data. So I'm hoping the internet works for you until we get internet more solidly in place. But yes, this is going to be our home. I'm going to tidy up a little bit. Going to Arsenal fire. Is that a word? Arsenal fire a little bit up for the short term, and then over the next 2, 3, 4 months, hopefully, you'll start seeing. Well, you won't start seeing it. Will kind of be just like that. It'll be a very quick from one to the other when it eventually happens. But things are moving, things are in motion. But at the moment, I'm hoping that you can hear and see me, and all that stuff is working, because it'd be a shame if it wasn't. But good morning to you all. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me every single day at 8 a.m. If you could drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. Without further ado, though, let's jump into the chat box. Say good morning to Black Shine and Pika Who and Carlton. We've got Jean, we've got Tom, we've got Pika Who, Olawale, Errol, Glenn, Louis, Chima, Odarile, Shari, Babatundi, James, Jose, Matt G, Damien, Kim. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And if you could ever be so kind to drop a like on the video, that would be very much appreciated. Yesterday's show, I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, that was a pre-recording with James and Sophie talking about the game against Manchester City that we recorded on Sunday night. Went up for you tomorrow morning. So if you've not yet watched it, I recommend you go and do that. It's the last video upload on the channel. It's not a live upload. So if you've missed it, or you've not found it, or you thought there wasn't a show yesterday morning, there was. It's available to watch on Catch Up and audio platforms. It's available there too. And if you were listening with young children, I can only apologise for James's potty mouth yesterday. I just didn't even monetize the video yesterday. I was just like, there's just no way that I'm getting anything from this. That's not what it's about. So I was like, I'm still going to upload it. I just won't monetize it. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was a good podcast to listen to. I certainly thought it was a good discussion about refereeing and the Trossard situation and the City win. I had people leaving comments saying I was being quite critical. I felt I was just hosting the show and really kind of letting Sophie and James go for gold. I was very happy with our performance. I thought it was a really big moment for us and a very, really, really, really good point. So if they didn't come across, sorry. We'll probably talk a little bit more about Man City today. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't yet watched it, go back and catch up on it. Right. Today's stories. Arsenal left it very late in their under-21s game against Stoke City yesterday. It ended in a 1-0 victory for Arsenal, but it was the 96th minute winner from Nathan Butler-Oyedeji, of course, the winner of last month's PL2 Player of the Month awards. But Arsenal getting a very big result there. And it follows, of course, the under-19s defeat to Atalanta in the Youth League, which we wanted to see a response from, and we have done. Interestingly, though, of course, there was some absences from the squad. It was interesting to see that Ranson and Okonkwo were the goalkeepers. We know now that, of course, with Neto not able to play against Bolton, Tommy Setford has not been in the squads of late. I haven't been able to get it confirmed if there's an injury or not. But it may be that if we do see another goalkeeper used against Bolton and it's not Raya, it may be that Alexi Rojas gets an opportunity to play, because he, I think, would be the next in line potentially to play for Arsenal. Maybe it'll be one of the others. But Rojas was, of course, a goalkeeper that came on loan not on loan, but he came on the tour with us during the summer window. So maybe it's Setford if he's back in time and recovered. Maybe it's Lucas Nygaard if he's recovered. Or maybe it's Alexi Rojas. So I guess we'll have to wait and see who it does indeed turn out to be. Moving forwards, and of course, the draw with Manchester City for the men's side was kind of precluded, if you like, with another 2-2 draw that we didn't really get to discuss on yesterday's show with Sophie and James. We focused very much in on the men's 2-2 result, but it was a very, I guess, in some ways frustrating start to Arsenal's season in the WSL, because not only did Viv Miedemar score for Man City, but Arsenal went 2-1 down when they missed a fair few chances of their own. Beth Mead in the 81st minute rescuing a point in the end. But that's just the reality of the situation that Arsenal had to deal with on the opening day. It was important they didn't lose this game, and obviously they didn't lose this game, and they managed to get a very important equaliser before the final whistle blew through Beth Mead. So hopefully it's a good start. Hopefully it's a place where we'll be continuing forwards and finding the results that we need to later on in the season. Just a little bit of a Premier League roundup for you then from the weekend's results, and of course how that makes the table look. Chelsea beating West Ham United, a really poor performance from the Hammers, 3-0. Aston Villa winning 3-1, coming from behind to beat Wolves. Reece Nelson and Smith Rowe scoring in Fulham's 3-1 win over Newcastle. Leicester drawing 1-1 with Everton. Liverpool winning 3-0 against Bournemouth. Southampton drawing 1-1 with Ipswich. Spurs with a controversial Vicario moment, winning 3-1 over Brentford. Crystal Palace drawing 0-0 with Man United, who controversially didn't see Lissandro Martinez sent off for his two-footed lunge. Brighton Hove Albion drew 2-2 in a very entertaining game, actually, on Sunday. I watched this ahead of the game against City. Really exciting game. I don't know what Gibbs White was thinking, making the challenge he made, already on a yellow card. But yeah, not really the best of decisions from him. And Manchester City, of course, drawing 2-2 with Arsenal in their game as well. Of course, the big stories will be the ones that have come out from Sunday's fixture. And there are two main ones that we need to talk about. The first one is, of course, Rodri, the enemy of Arsenal, as some were describing him yesterday. Well, Rodri is expected to miss the rest of the Premier League season. News coming out from Spain that the Spanish international, of course, has suffered a significant ACL issue that will see him miss most of, if not all, of the rest of the season, which is, of course, a massive blow to Manchester City and arguably a big boost to Arsenal, completely unintentionally, of course. You've seen a lot of complaining about how Arsenal approached the game. I mean, Man City came out for this fixture in a very obvious manner, I felt, to kind of get at Arsenal, to be physical with Arsenal, and we matched that physicality. The actual injury to Rodri was really innocuous. It's nothing that Thomas Partey did wrong, really, in that moment. It's just two players running across the box, and he gets his feet tangled and falls awkwardly, and his knee twists, and they happen so. Strangely do ACLs. They are such innocuous injuries, and they can happen to anyone at any potential moment. And it's we wish Rodri, of course, all the best in his recovery and hope that he can return to action as soon as feasibly possible for Man City in the nicest way. But it is, of course, a boost to Arsenal, who will go up against the City side for the rest of the season, who will be without arguably the best player in the world for some. So a big blow, and it's not really an area where they have a lot of an obvious candidate, if you like, for the replacement at DM. Rico Lewis can, of course, play deeper. Gundogan can, of course, play deeper as well. But other than that, it's not so obvious what might happen. And of course, the other story is surrounding Arsenal's player that will miss their next game, and that's Leandro Trossard. Now, his red card, we can confirm, will see him miss the midweek game against Bolton. So he only is suspended for that League Cup fixture. He will be back and available for the match against Leicester City in what will certainly be a big boost to Arsenal, to Mikel Arteta, and to the players that he would like, of course, to call up for these games. It was unlikely that Trossard, I think, maybe would have started the game against Bolton on Wednesday anyway. So the fact that he misses just this League Cup game through the red card suspension, I think, is obviously a very good thing. It's worth pointing out the differences here between red card suspensions and yellow card suspensions. So what this means is, of course, if you get more than one yellow card and get into 5 yellows before the 19th game week, or before the completion of the 19th game week, it means that you're given a yellow card suspension, meaning you'll miss the next fixture. I believe, from my understanding of the rules, that this only for Premier League specific games. However, for red card suspensions actually bleed over into the next domestic fixture, be that the League Cup, be that the FA Cup. So any red cards, suspensions cross over into other competitions. And so this red card suspension means that Trossard will only miss the game against Bolton, which I think we can all agree is a bit of a benefit from this maniacal decision and maniacal rule implementation in the Premier League. Of course, what isn't maniacal is the fantastic security and coverage that NordVPN can bring you and your family, of course, wherever you happen to be, whether it's going somewhere else in the world, maybe on holiday, or you need to take a VPN with you. It keeps you safe and secure online. Maybe you're using a Wi-Fi service that isn't private and you've hopped into a cafe somewhere and you're using their Wi-Fi. Well, any Wi-Fi service, of course, that is not your own and not a private network can be hijacked. And so it is worth always having a VPN to give you that extra layer of protection if you're ever using a public Wi-Fi service. With the NordVPN plan that you can get by going to nordvpn.com/Gooner, you can get yourself a significant discount off a 1 or a 2 year plan with 4 months extra thrown in 3 on top of that 2-year deal as well. If you're not happy with the service, you can get a 30-day money-back guarantee. And of course, the football prizes competitions remain in play. I can tell you, of course, that the prize, which would have seen you win a Ben White or Calafiori signed shirt, has now sold out. So best of luck to all of you that are getting involved in the brand new competition or, of course, got involved in that competition. But I need to tell you about a brand new competition which has just gone live, and that is to win a signed and framed, this is going to be a good one, Bukayo Saka shirt. Of course, you can get your hands on this by going down to the competition page. The link is in the description as always. Around half of tickets, just under half of tickets have already sold for this, and it's only been on sale for a day. If you're quick, you might even get the early bird price as well. There are also some instant win prizes, including a signed Gabriel Jesus framed shirt, a signed Martinelli shirt, and a signed Freddie Ljungberg shirt as well. So best of luck to all of you that get involved in that latest competition, and I hope it goes well. Right, let's go to part 2 and your questions right after this. Okay, this is part 2 of the show where we jump into the chat box and tackle some of your questions and more. Apologies if you hear some drilling, by the way, in the background. There's some work going on downstairs, so just bear that in mind if you hear anything in the background. Sesan says, "Good morning, Tom. Had it been, or rather, it was that Arteta kicked the chair the way that Pep did, would he not have been sent off, or an Arsenal player throwing the ball at the head of another player celebrating?" Look, I think in these situations, no one caught it. I don't think anyone caught it on the officiating team when Pep kicked his chair. I don't really know what the practice would be, to be honest. I'm not sure if there would be any kind of retrospective action for Arteta or Pep for kicking the own chair of your own. Is there a difference between that and like the booting of a bottle down the touchline? Because, of course, it affects other people or others. I'm not sure. You know, it's really difficult to know whether or not that would be the case. So let me know what you think. Should managers be sent off for doing what he did? And if Arteta was the one doing it, do you think we'd be complaining as much? Of course, the throw at the back of the head of Gabriel, it's just cowardly. I don't think it's a red card incident at all. I think it's one of those things. I think Tim Stillman actually tweeted about this and summed it up quite well. Let me have a quick look at his Twitter feed because I thought I saw a tweet that summed it up pretty well indeed. Take a little bit of a scroll. Yes. Why on earth would there be need for retrospective punishment for that? Have we all seriously just instantly conditioned ourselves into thinking stuff like this should be anything other than slightly laughed at or ignored? How about we punish players for violent conduct? How about that? And that's the thing. It's like players are being sent off these days for the most silliest of instances. I don't want Haaland to be sent off for throwing a ball harmlessly and cowardly into the back of Gabriel's head. I don't want to see it. I'm just not interested in those players getting sent off being punished for those types of actions. I don't want to see Trossard being sent off for kick the ball away. I don't want to see Rice sent off for kicking the ball away. I don't want to see these things. I just don't. I don't want to see players being sent off, and I don't want to be having these discussions about what I think players should be being sent off for. I don't think Pep should be getting sent off for kicking his chair. We're emotional people. Football's an emotional sport. People should be able to react in emotional ways, sometimes slightly funny ways. It should be allowed to just play out. It should just be allowed to just play. And I'm so sick and tired, and I spoke about it on the post-match show with Sophie and James about this, is that I just feel like there's too many rules. There's too many rules in football these days. There's too many things you can get booked for, too many things you can get sent off for. Football's becoming so binary, and referees are implementing the rules in such a meticulous way. It's just like it's not fun anymore. It's just not fun. Like, I'm bored of it. I'm really bored of the yellows. I'm bored of the reds. And I'm just hoping that we can finally see football get back to its best with some better decisions and more common sense brought into the game. Haaland's a coward. Call him a coward. Show him up to be a coward. I don't want to see him sent off for throwing a ball harmlessly into the back of Gabriel's head. It's pathetic. If you really want to see players punished for that, fine. But I'm so bored of it. Like, I'm so bored of these things. And if we're going to start punishing players for that, then of course it's never going to help the situation that sees our own players sent off for menial things. We need to change the rhetoric. We need to change the way in which we look at the game. And we need to change the way in which we're starting to absorb it, which is unfortunately in a really kind of soft way. Magambo says, I think Michael Oliver was under pressure from the City players after the Calafiori goal that was taken quickly from the free kick, and he maybe wanted to give yellows for the pressure of kind of, I guess, leveling the playing field is kind of what people have suggested. Of course, we got very fortunate in some ways with that moment. You could argue that maybe Kyle Walker should be running back into position more. You could argue that because he's been pulled over, the referee should allow him time to get back into position and be ready and set to go. But it's a difficult one. I hate the whole leveling it up type thing. The referee makes a mistake. 2 wrongs don't make a right. You don't then go and make another wrong error to balance the playing field in both positions, especially if it means giving us a red card, which I don't think was the case, to be fair. Gary says, Tom, given that we are so close and have a decent squad, do you think that we need strengthening? And would you agree, in my honest opinion, that we need 2 elite level players and maybe 1 top class youth player, forward and attacking midfielder? Of course, there are still improvements that we can make to this team. We can still improve this team significantly, and we can still improve certain areas and depth in this squad. It's not easy. It's really difficult to do these things. I'm just hoping that, of course, Arsenal get through until at least January of what we've got, even with the number of injuries that we continue to face. And now Man City have got their own injury issues too. Rodri is missing for the rest of the season. They're going to have to deal with that. Of course, this is actually the first Premier League game that Rodri has started this season, and they've won all the others. So it's not like they can't win games without Rodri, but of course it's going to be a challenge not having him in the team. Late Bloomer says, good morning, Tom. Do you think Marino will be back after the next international break? I hope so. The next one, of course, is in October. I hope that we see him back after that break. It'd be a really big boost to us, a really big benefit to us. I hope that that is the case. Let's go to Derek, who says, hi, mate. I've taken an unbelievable disliking towards Haaland over the last 2 incidents. Love to take him out of FPL, but that's impossible. Yeah, you just can't take Haaland out of your FPL team. It's just not something you can do unless you want to lose. Steal Your Faces, did you see the Gibbs White second card? Ref had to wait 10 seconds for an obvious yellow, and Oliver bust it right out for us against the kickoff, 0.89 seconds after the whistle. Did he book Havertz for that? I don't know if he did he? Let me have a quick look. Stat timeline. Start of the game. Kickoff. General view. Gundogan got. Oh, they've not even. No, there was no booking for that Rodri incident after 0.89 seconds. No one was booked for that. So, but I think maybe what you're talking about is 0.89 seconds after the whistle's blown, Trossard is sent off. I stick with where I'm at with this, with the Trossard yellow red card situation. I think he kicks the ball away. Footballers are in this state. They react to moments so fast. Their reactions are so on point that he hears the whistle, he still boots the ball away. He's not booting it to Martinelli. It's a different type of pass if he goes for Martinelli. He doesn't do it the way that he kicks it. For me, I think he does kick the ball away. I think it's Trossard's fault. And from my point of view, I don't have any complaints based upon the rules that we're seeing implemented. The complaints that I have is that these are the rules. I'm not complaining that he sent him off for what is a breach of the rules at the moment. I'm just, from my perspective at least, I just think that the rules are stupid. I think that in those situations when the player's on a yellow already, I think you have a word with the player. Just pull the player over, say, look, you're on a yellow. You've just kicked the ball away. You saw what happened with Declan Rice the other week. You're on your final chance. Don't spoil the game. Don't do it based on a moment of just hot-headedness. That's the issue that I've got from a personal perspective. Is I just think that these are the rules at the moment. Players are going to get booked for this. And and he's an idiot really for, giving the referee an excuse to do it. People will say that the time between him blowing the whistle and kicking the ball is too small. I think he can pull out of it personally. I think he doesn't pull out of it enough. And I think actually the way in which he responds to it, you can see he started to think about it. I just think the rules aren't in the right way. And also, it was interesting listening to Ref Watch yesterday. Dermot Gallagher continuously always seems to have a different view of different things for Arsenal and other players and other teams. The suggestion that Doku's wasn't a yellow, if Trossard's is frankly ridiculous. He tries to explain that Doku kicks the ball to an Arsenal player. He doesn't. He kicks it into an area where there isn't an Arsenal player, and the Arsenal player has to go and retrieve the ball. It's just, he's constant. For me, Dermot Gallagher just constantly tries to explain away the decisions of his mates, those that are in the refereeing space, those that are in the refereeing circle. It's just a terrible piece of media. I get so frustrated watching and listening to it. I can't quite get some of the decisions the way that Gallagher explains them, because there's so many inconsistencies. You think about the Declan Rice situation, you think about how he explained the Henry Lansbury situation. It's two incidents that were almost identical, and he's talked about them completely separately, completely differently. So yeah, I don't get it. But I stick by my point that I made in yesterday's show. The rules are what are the issue. This implementation of such a harsh kind of rhetoric around kicking the ball away is ruining games. Absolutely ruining games. Peter Cook says, if that was the case, Oliver should have made the Rice take the free kick from where Doku kicked it to. Obviously, that didn't happen. Emil says, it's very stupid. Even if you heard the whistle, it's a split-second decision. We all do it in life. I've done it on my bike before and ended up on my back. We are humans, not robots. Of course, people make mistakes. I'm not saying Trossard should receive any kind of retrospective punishment from Arsenal. I just think he has to take this one on the chin. We know how hard they're being on kicking the ball away and delaying the restart. We know we are. I want to see consistency across the decisions, and that's not being implemented right now. But at the end of the day, I say this continuously on the show, we need to take the referee out of the game ourselves. We need to give the referee no excuses. We need to take the game into our own control. We cannot rely so heavily on the referee not making errors or not helping us out or not helping the opposition out and vice versa. We need to take the referees out of the game. That's what we need to do. That's all that we can do. And from my perspective, I can't concern myself with it too much more than that. We have to be able to take the referee out of the game. We cannot give the referee an excuse, a reason to send our players off. I personally think Trossard didn't give Oliver too much choice based upon the rules that we're seeing implemented right now. Because as Dermot Gallagher said on one of the previous ref watches, we simply cannot expect to see common sense and refereeing in the same circle right now. And that's just the reality that we've got. I'm going to end the show there. There's about to be a lot of hammering and drilling. There's already been some in the background you may have heard. So I'm going to spare your ears and cut the show there. I hope you appreciate that we put one on for you this morning, even with the craziness of a house move. But yeah, I really hope that you've appreciated. Let me know your thoughts on anything that we've discussed today. Do drop a like on the video and of course subscribe to the channel if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. I'm going to watch Lincoln Park tonight. It's going to be great. I've got a lot going on, but it's going to be fantastic. See you soon. Stay well, stay safe, and as always, stay respectful and up the Arsenal.